Oh, I love it here. Italy is one of my favorite places to go on earth. I've been here many times, and I've never been to Torino. I've only been through southern Italy, but I have a lot of family here, so it's always nice to come here. It's like kind of coming home, you know. The best thing about it for me is to act, you know, knowing my history, knowing where my family came from, is to be able to come here and share what I do with the people who live here. Because I feel such a strong connection to Italy that it's, you know, I didn't know what that was going to be like. This is my first time playing music here or dealing, you know, usually I come just as a tourist, but this is my first time actually, you know, here for music. And it was really special and emotional for me as well. I kind of try to ignore what everyone else is doing, and I try to just kind of find out on my own what's right for what I'm working on.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, you could listen to Lost. Lost has a lot of atmospheric sort of sounds, but it's all done with the orchestra. You know, there's ways to do it with the orchestra as well. So it really depends on the film. It really depends on the project. You know, what does it need? So one of the most fun things I get to do is figure out, all right, what does it need? How can I best serve that story with my music? But I do think melody is an important part of the process, and it's something that has sadly kind of disappeared in recent years. And I'm happy to be somebody who's doing it, and I don't care if they like it or not. That's just how I like to do it. So.
How do you relate to the players? I mean, I think that is a huge part of your sound.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how do you work with them? Do you experiment stuff on stage?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of that on stage. I, you know, will change things right on the stage all the time. You know, if I don't like something or I feel like I can do it better in a different way, I will quickly talk to them. Do this instead of that. Don't play this. Change this. You guys add this. The whole, you know, we have a great relationship. We can, you know, I can easily communicate with them everything I need. And they're the best. We're like a family. We work on everything together.
And also the recording technique is very important, because I see photos where you have the orchestra broken into little groups, but all together,
yes,
with separators, so you can mic them in a particular way.
Yeah, and we can actually do a creative mix that way, and it doesn't sound like you just recorded them in a church. You know, I like old scores were kind of very, you know, closely mic'd, and I love that style. It seems these days most scores are recorded in a way in which it sounds like it's too much reverb, too much, you know, it sounds too much, you know, and it kind of, to me, it kills the orchestration. You can't even hear what's going on in the orchestration. It's like this blur. So that's my engineer, who's Dan Wallen. He's 81 years old, and he's recorded everything under the sun, and to me, he's like the greatest recording engineer on earth.
He worked with Emma Bernstein.
He's worked with it, yes, John White, everybody, James Horner, you know. And his stuff sounds amazing, and you can hear the instruments, you can hear them playing. You know, I like that.
As you said, the instrumentation is very peculiar, very quirky. It recalls maybe the sounds and the scores of the old TV series like The Twilight Zone, the scores by Bernard Herrmann and Jerry Goldsmith. And I hear a lot of references to that kind of
well, yeah,
style.
I grew up listening to that. I mean, that was, you know, you know, when you raise a kid, you feed him certain food. You know, well, for me, I was fed Bernard Herrmann and Jerry Goldsmith and John Williams and Henry Mancini and, you know, endless amounts of people. So it's all a part of who I am. So it's no surprise to me that there's little hints of it here and there, and it becomes a part of, you know, it's like eating it all, mixing it all up, and then spitting it back out. You know, we are all kind of made up of our experiences, and that was a huge part of my childhood, was listening to that music. Twilight Zone for me, I love.
Yeah.
When I saw it for the first time, I said, look, I want to do something that is extremely uncomfortable. I don't want to do a normal kind of score for this. I want to do something that is, there's two sides to Lost as far as the music goes. It's either extremely uncomfortable or it's very emotional and touching. And for me, it was important that we keep a level of uneasiness, you know, you know, where you, as an audience member, you don't know what's going to happen. And to me, the best way to do that was with these sounds, with the orchestra. I felt that if I was going to, you know, it took place in a jungle, some people suggested, oh, we should make it very jungly sounding. And I was like, I don't want to do that. Why would you want to do that? That makes people comfortable, you know? That makes me, because they're used to that. I don't know what's happening when I'm scoring the show. I do it just a bit at a time. You know, I start at the beginning of an episode, and I do a cue, and I keep going, going, going. So I don't know how it ends.
No.
So as a viewer, I hope that it's translated that you don't know how it ends either. You know, sometimes when I know the ending, I might give away something in the music unconsciously. You know, it just may happen.
But does it happen that maybe you're going in some direction and then maybe you have to go back?
No, never. I always give you my gut reaction to what's happening, because that's what you want as a viewer. You want to feel like, you know, you want that. Once I get somewhere, I go, oh, that's what happened. I never go back, because that's how you're led somewhere and you're surprised. You know, it feels like a surprise, and that's kind of a natural way of doing it.